So first of all, go ahead and turn your calculator on. And these do turn off, right? You guys know how to turn them off? Yeah, please do that at the end of the block when you put it up because it drains the battery if they, not a lot, but like every day if people just leave them on, it does drain them. So second on, we'll turn it back off. Okay, so go ahead and turn it back on. If you ever get this, it doesn't, just go ahead and clear out of that, it doesn't matter. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to show you is the math button. That's one of the most important buttons you'll use. So over on the left side, see it? Go ahead and hit math. There's a lot of stuff in here. You can see what's the first few. Yeah, fraction, decimal, those are probably pretty useful. I'll show you those in a second. Cube root, x root. That x root can basically do like a fifth root, a sixth root, a seventh root, all those big roots. Now you can actually arrow to the right, and there's a number menu. So we're not going to do a ton of this, but what do you think ABS stands for? Yeah? What is it? Yeah, remember absolute value with the bars. So look at something like this. Remember that absolute value? What do we remember about absolute value? Yeah, it's distance from 0. So how far away is the number -2 from 0? +2. It's distance, so it's always positive. So go ahead and hit enter there. You can see it gives you the absolute value bars. And type in -2. Enter. So +2. So it can do the absolute value.
Isn't it just a number though? Do you actually calculate that?
No, but there will be things that are more advanced later. Like you'll want to. There's more going on around it, like the absolute value of -2 plus blah blah. And if you just want to type that in, but we will also use absolute value to graph. Do you remember what the shape of an absolute value graph looks like? Yeah, it's exactly. It's a V shape. So go to y equals, and we'll get into why that's the case. But this is what we did not do in geometry last year. We did not graph at all. So go ahead and go back to math, number menu, so arrow once to the right, and put that absolute value bar back in there. And let's graph the absolute value of x. So x is right here next to alpha. It's the button that has x, t, theta, n next to stat. You see it? So hit that, and I'll put an x in there. And then in the top right corner up here, you can see the button graph. Then it graphs the absolute value for you.
Interesting. That's cool.
Hit zoom 6. Okay. Oh, your pot's on. Oh, yeah. See all the stuff you have in here?
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, I know.
All it is.
I know. It's pretty small.
Wait, what would you mean?
Okay, so now, everyone go back to y equals. Clear that out. You can just hit clear.
Wait, where's one?
Top left. Top left. Yeah, there should not be anything in there. So it's just, yeah, clear out. Just hit the clear button. Yep. So it should be y1 equal top left.
No, that.
Graph. What? Graph. Oh, to get back to y equals. Y equals. Just hit clear.
Oh, okay.
And that's in there. Was that already in there?
Yeah,
That's-
we did.
So if you remember on your pretest that we just took, remember the line on the second one on the back page was 2x minus 3. Remember it had a rise over run of 2 and it had a y-intercept of -3. So go into y equals and type in 2x minus 3. So once again, that x button's the one next to alpha. And then go ahead and hit graph. And that's that line that we graphed on the back of your pretest. Remember that? So we'll use this a ton this year. It's an awesome feature. So that, just be aware that that's there. Okay, let's do a few basic things. Hit clear. Just get back to your normal calculator blank screen. And let's do 0.75. Type 0.75 in. That's a pretty simple one. What fraction is 0.75? 3/4, right? So 3/4. But let's say we didn't know that, or if it was a more difficult decimal that wasn't so obvious, you can hit math. You guys probably did do this last year, but math, and then 1, select fraction, enter, and it will convert that into the 3/4 fraction for you. Okay, now, how do you think we go back? If we want to see what decimal it is again. Math. Yeah, and you don't have to scroll down. You can just you can select the number 2. Because otherwise, if you have to go down to like max or something, you have to hit the arrow button and scroll down. You can just hit 2, selects decimal, and it changes it back to a decimal for you. Okay? Another way, so I'm on fraction right now. Some teachers teach this, some don't. But if you hit alpha in green, y equals, it gives a little fraction menu. What do you think N over D stands for? Yep, so hit enter. And that inserts that nice pretty fraction for you with the insert dotted boxes. So let's type in the fraction 246. Has everyone gotten to this point? So alpha y equals enter. And then see how it's flashing a little arrow? Hit the right arrow, and that'll go down to the bottom of the fraction for you. And on the bottom, let's type 422. Go ahead and hit enter. What do you notice the calculator does for you? Yeah, it simplifies it. So both of those were even numbers. They both divided by 2. So the calculator does that. So that's awesome because even myself, like if I have some like 4,327 over 6,005, like I'm not going to spend like 5 minutes trying to figure out what the greatest common multiples are and simplify that fraction. Just have your calculator do it for you, okay? But if you put it in as a fraction, your calculator is going to answer it as a fraction. So if you it's always going to be a fraction. But let's say I want a decimal rounded to the nearest 10th. What could I do? Math 2. Now, 10th is which decimal place? The first one, right? So the first number is the 10th. The next one is the 100th, 1,000th, 10,000th, and so on and so forth. But to round to the 10th, what do you have to look at? The 100th, the number after. Good. And if that is 5 or larger, what do you have to do? Yeah, so if I answer this to the nearest 10th, what would my answer actually be here? 0.6. Yeah, 0.6. Yep. Okay. Remember, division is a fraction. So if you don't want to use alpha y equals, you can always just divide like 48 divided by 62. That is the fraction 48 over 62, right? But if you're just dividing and you want a decimal, there's no need to use alpha y equals. But let's say we now want to turn that decimal into a fraction. What can we do? Math 1, and it will reduce the fraction for you. So you'll see once again it divides us by 2 and reduces it to 24 over 31. Okay. Are we aware that there's a difference between the minus sign and the negative sign? Yeah, so for example, let me show you how this works. Do 7. Now, I want to do 7 minus 3, but I'm going to type the negative sign, which is this one down here in parentheses, the short one. I'm going to do that instead. So I'm going to do 7 minus 3, but I'm going to use the negative sign. And then go ahead and enter, and it gives you an error. Okay? So sometimes that's a clue that you might have just hit the wrong button on accident. Okay? Now, something cool that these calculators can do, see how there's quit and go to? Go to will go to the error. So if you hit number 2 or scroll down and hit enter, can you see how the cursor is highlighting the negative sign? That's telling you that there's a problem right there. So just change it back to a minus sign and hit enter, and that gives you the answer. Okay, now you can scroll up. So hit the up button and see how it highlights stuff. Go back up to 7 minus 3. And hit enter. See how it brings it down? That can be super helpful. Like if you have this big long problem, 8 plus 5 minus 6 times 9 parentheses 7 divided by 8, like this big long problem, and then you do some other stuff, and you're like, oh crap, I need to go back there and redo it or fix something. You can just arrow up to that big long thing and hit enter, and it brings it back down for you. And then you can either re-enter it or edit it, okay? Now, are you guys aware that there's a delete button? It's DEL. See it? So you don't have to clear the whole... Let's say I meant for this 38 to just be a 3. Well, you can arrow back over the 8 and hit DEL, and that just deletes it out. So you don't have to clear the whole thing and re-enter it in. And then also, what's right above delete? Yeah, INS, insert. So let's say I needed that 38 to be a 37. Well, you can do second delete, and it will let you insert that 7 back in. It'll kind of push everything out of the way so you can insert a number. Okay? So those are super helpful things that you can do that some people don't know about. All right. Any questions on any of that? That pretty much covers all of it.